and welcome back to the First Strike North America Closed Qualifiers, brought to you by Nerd Street Gamers. We are going into match 3 in our final best of 3 tonight between Envy versus Dignitas, and with me are your casters Dust and Unfire Vince. Guys, how do you reset and come back from that one if you're Dignitas? Dust, I'll come to you first.
That's a tough one. Yeah, I don't really know that I have a complete answer. I mean, I think that they're used to having struggles on Descent. You know, it's a map that they, you know, have dropped quite a few times since this lineup has come together. It's some really big losses just like that one, but they were able to still come back from the loss against Spot Up and get themselves in this position earlier on in the group. So I think you just have to, again, kind of put that one away. That was your opponent's pick. You won your pick. Now it's time to go on to Split and see what you can do. It is a map that Envy have had their struggles on the attacking side on at times. So, you know, that does give them, I think, some hope.
Well, Vince, you know, you've seen these scenarios before, you know, especially in CSGO where players probably have to come back from worse situations than this. So mentally, where do you think Dignitas are right now, and what do they have to do to get themselves together if they want to progress in this tournament?
Yeah, I'm always like a big advocate for the psychological aspect of like any sport really, whether it's FPS or otherwise. I think if you ask most players, honestly, I think they prefer to get banged out in that kind of a performance than take it to overtime and then lose. Because it means that they don't have to waste as much energy. They can focus now fully on the third map. And if you get really close and then stumble, that can be an absolute nightmare. So I think they'll be able to reset no problems.
Well, as you said, it is going to be the third map, and that is Split. It's all going to come down to this, with a playoff spot on the line, also an elimination spot as well. This is going to be the most important map for both of these teams today. For the last time, guys, take it away.
Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this, Dust. Obviously, we haven't casted Split today. I think with Split, you could maybe see some different agents come into play. It's not unheard of to see a Sage or maybe even a Viper. Do you expect to see either of those?
Could see a Viper out of Dignitas, I think. I know that some of them have played Viper in the past on Split, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it. But we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Looks like the answer to that question is a resounding nah, Chief. No Viper.
Do you see a Breach, though? That's a bit of a change on both teams.
Yeah, but this is the one map that Crashies comes off of playing like a Sova or something, because no Sova ever gets played on this map, and so this is the one map where you will see him step out on Breach. So kind of par for the course for this team.
Both teams have decided to elect themselves a Breach, and the Cloudburst forces back the defenders. Dignitas won the toss. They decided to go defense, and Supermen with the Ghost with 3 quickfire frags and really gets a 4th. Wasn't far off onto Mummy, who survives, albeit on 20 HP.
Man, that was impressive from Superman. Again, just showing you the aim that he's got on him. He is definitely a skilled player. Big hold. We are going to see Mummy getting out of there. I believe he does. Yeah, he does not have Spike. He's just trying to find a new angle of approach here through Mail, but I think that it's going to be covered just fine by Psalm. So I think he's left. Oh, if he dies at the turret, bro, please. I need that. He's got low health. Turret's in position. Mate. Nah, he's just going to bypass it. That would have been great, though, wouldn't it?
Yep, and maybe with the trajectory that he's taken, the route that he's got to this point, they won't expect it. They do expect it, but he's still too fast on the trigger. 5 seconds, no forthcoming kill onto Psalm. And to be honest, even if he did get that kill, all Breach has to do is just sit in and wait, and the time would have done the rest for them.
Yeah, so I mean, when I'm looking at the agents, I mean, it looks pretty standard for Envy at least. I don't know so much about Dignitas' comps with this new lineup, but as far as what everyone's playing for Envy, it's what you expect. I mean, Finesse is always going to be, you know, on that Cypher. This is one of the maps where Food will pick up Omen so that they can see Mummy on Jet. Typically always going to see Caboose playing Raze. So, I mean, yeah, this is pretty much what I thought you would see based on previous Split matches from Envy.
Recharge comes out, first connect, forces back the defenders. So much utility, Cloudburst, Nano Swarms, the whole 9 yards have been put into place with some cages for good measure. Ends a bit of a stalemate, and now Envy decide to change up their avenue of aggression. They go back via sewers to middle. Some damage is forthcoming to Crashies, but nothing too significant.
Yeah. Now they're just swarming up over here on the Envy side of things. Look to do a B split play, try to maybe get control of Mail, work into B Heaven. They had 2 members waiting. This is where that jet dash and, you know, Ray's blast back combination can be oh so powerful for mobility to play off the back of Breach's flashes and really just swarm into a site.
Good, getting it done with a stinger, but runs out of ammunition and does get punished. Storm deals with him. Here comes the aftershock, and has been planted. Frenzy goes in for one, but that's all they'll get post-plant. It's a decent round, though, for Envy, all things considered. But Dignitas only losing 2 players, I'll be happy with the outcome.
The thing was, Envy invested into that. You know, at least they had one stinger that they invested into, so even with the spike plant, their economy might still be in kind of a weird place. Well, they can't really buy, and yeah, that's going to be the case. Just going to be upgraded pistols and sheriffs coming in. If they had invested less and got that spike plant, they might have been able to buy immediately here, but not going to be the case. So Dignitas off to a good start here on the defense. Again, this is one of the maps where Envy does have a lower attack win percentage. I think it's like a little over 40%. Obviously a map that can be very defensive-sided for a lot of teams, if we're honest. A lot of tight choke points.
Envy playing slowly up middle, not giving any information away. Oh! It's the one-tap onto Depth, who never saw it coming.
Wow.
He's taking a dirt nap. And Envy switch across to a Spectre. With middle control and very little damage done against them, they're in a good position.
Yeah, Death's got the Looney Tune canaries flying around his head right now. He got absolutely beamed. That's giving Envy a lot of control over towards Mail and Ropes, is forcing scrambling out of Dignitas' rotations, and even with low firepower, Envy can pose a threat here based on positioning alone.
That is dirty at 2. And a third, and the spike down, and indeed the round will follow. You could see him ping, he knew exactly what was coming up.
Now it's just going to be about how Envy wants to open attacking side. Again, they can play default with kind of Cypher being that A lurk, and they usually use Raze for pressure on B lobby, but they're also a team that doesn't play default very often. Again, I feel like I'm, you know, kind of a broken record, but it is just so true that Envy likes to do those, you know, early burst type strategies in the early round moments, whether that be bursting through middle to get Mail control and splitting B, or whether that just be, you know, set pieces on either side of the map. And you can see here they're focused up with 3 on this B lobby, but we're going to see Dignitas push in as well.
Push coming through. Paint shells forcing Psalm away. You had a phenomenal start on our first map of Bind.
And they need to push this Reyna offense. They need to get him out of there, and that's big, because now they can go for the Breach Flash and the Blast Pack combo on Raze with the Jet Dash. Or they could just fall off and just play against the rotations. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. They're going to go to Ramen and watch for the mid push.
Paint shells are pulled out. The timing could not have been worse. And Odinus gets punished, but Superman now stepping up with 2 of his own before he gets silenced. And a 2v2 falls upon us, but Mummy with 3 HP does have the operator, so at least has the ability to instantly silence somebody, but this is looking grim again for Envy.
I'm surprised they didn't just follow up that pick on Reyna. They're usually a team that would explode off of something like that, especially when you already have the Jet and Reyna in position to jump in, and you had the Breach there for flashes. It just seemed like they would just roll it open. That's the Envy I'm used to seeing, but they decided to be a bit more reserved, fall back to Ramen, watch for a mid-push, just try to play their numbers advantage, which is fair enough. It's not necessarily a wrong approach, but they got caught up a little bit there, and now it's an even 2-on-2. They're trying to get into defensive spawn. Def is watching if they come B-side. Indeed they are. They're going to fall right into his hands, but the timing might get him.
The timing has got him, and they have enough time to get the spike down as well. That's so brutal. He was looking at the perfect spot, and he thought better of it. He will be so upset about this outcome unless Maka can get the 1v2. Flashpoints tossed out, making moves in. Perfect angle, takes down the spy camp. But the first kill is too far away from him. Finesse puts him down with authority, and Envy get across the finish line for the first time in an all-important 3rd map decider.
That's a big round to get for Envy. I mean, obviously they were slow to start because their economy was in tatters after the kind of forced buy in round 2. But now that they got the full buy there, they're able to get an immediate victory, which is great news for them. And now they're going to pivot and look to put pressure on A ramps early between, you know, Cypher's cam and the blast pack and jet opping and all the mobility that she has, they can really put the hurting on B Ramp's control. But that's a great combination there, the stun and the nade. But Mummy still comes up with the frag anyway.
Yeah, it's almost like they put it a little bit too slowly. Raids was getting up there after the fault line connected, but didn't quite make the most of it. Got put down. That puts Dignitas into a really awkward position. Backs to the wall.
Oh, legged.
How did that shot not kill? I think he jumped up and got legged instead of the outright frags. He's been dropped down very, very low, Def, but still alive. There's another player that they have to weed out from the site. The flash is good, but so is Caboose's aim. From the shadows, popped in the meanwhile. Looking to scatter the adversaries. And a post plant will be coming up momentarily.
Yeah, Spike going down, and Omen's on a massive flank of defending spawn through the B site, and will be able to come over and stop these weapons from being saved. Gets caught, though, throwing smokes down to help cover heaven and screens for his teammates who are playing post plant at A. Understandable, and it's not really going to harm the round at all. They're still going to come out with the victory, but it would have been nice if he could have had his gun out, maybe stopped a couple players from saving. That would have been pretty sick. So it will be 3-2, still in favor of DIGNITAS, but Envy are quickly looking to surpass them.
Really awkward moment. I think both Def and also Food were switching weapons or switching to, you know, abilities, and that's why he had this prolonged moment where they just looked at each other.
Yeah, Food had just thrown a smoke, I think, at Heaven on A side, right as Def came around the corner. Crashies will still stop one from saving. Yep,
exactly. So, as awkward as it was for Superman, or pardon me, Food, it doesn't really matter.
Ooh. I'm be curious what they're going to do here. They have Rolling Thunder available for Crashy, so that's obviously a very powerful tool for getting map control or executing a site. Definitely can be used in tandem. In fact, they have almost all their ults set for Food. Haven't had to go to them just yet, so it's going to give them a lot of extra utility however they choose to play things. They're playing things a little bit more mid-focus this time. They still have, of course, Finesse lurking outside A, but no presence B lobby. Just looking to come up mid. They're smoking off ropes, looking to take a peek into Mail. This is kind of your bread and butter, I guess you would say, on this map, on how teams like to open up default. There is not much of a mid defense, though. It's just kind of Omen playing super passive at B Heaven. Normally you see like a double B Heaven defense, but there's only one right now, but Reyna is rotating over, as Ropes has been cleared by the Boom bot.
Yeah, they put down a lot of utility from Killjoy, from depth up there, nano swarms and all that stuff. Odorous will be tested momentarily. How's his resolve? Paint shell straight down. This could do a lot of damage. And a satchel behind it, single-handedly pushing them back, but he's lost so much damage in return. And it only stalls them for a few more seconds. They're now taking control. Flashpoint out, trying best to stave off the pressure. Aftershock also tossed in for good measure. Dignitas feel like this is a ruse. They actually send away players.
30 seconds
but
left.
It was a ruse. It's a B-sided hit. Caboose dealing with Superman as the spike goes down. And now Depth, posted at the back of the attack side, is looking to see if maybe he can stall away the aggressors for a little bit longer for the cavalry to arrive. Killjoy popping down the ultimate.
Big.
It instantly gets destroyed from the showstopper, and that is huge for Envy.
Yeah, their whole retake attempt was predicated on that lockdown, and to have it completely shot down by the showstopper before they could even really get started was huge. So great attacking play here from Envy. When you have that combination of having presence towards B Heaven and Mail, and you take Ropes, and you push off A Heaven, I mean, the world is your oyster at that point, attacking-wise. Like, you are just loving life because you can cause so much havoc in your opponent's rotations. You can pick them apart. You can just do the split pressure and then just make a final decision. And they found a perfect gap there on that B side. So 3 in a row here for Envy, looking to try to still close out this series and move on to the playoffs tomorrow. To have a shot at getting one of those 4 slots available for First Strike taking place in this Nerd Street Gamers tournament.
1-1 on match. 3-3 in-round score and a flawless fault line landing on 2 players. Yeah. Forces away Envy. They cannot push too aggressively, but they decide to keep going in regardless.
Yeah, it's kind of an empty gesture, right? There's no follow-up to it. So, I mean, that's all great, but it's almost utility that doesn't really have too much of an impact when it's all said and done. They will just kind of walk in here and spot Maka. He's now going to be paranoid. He's trying to stay alive as long as he can, but he gets found out by Finesse, and Neural Theft is going to be deployed as well, and I don't see how DIGNITAS get back into this. They're going to have to work fast.
Spike planted.
Put up close really quickly. The food with 2, it was a bait and switch.
Yep. That was real flashy. I love that.
Me too, man. It looked really sick when Taylor shot.
I mean, I think that Mummy wanted to hit the operator shot up for honest Vince. You know, I think that it wasn't completely calculated that way, but hey, it works.
And just going back to that point that you made before about the empty gesture, that could have actually done more harm than good to DIGNITAS, because once they see there's no follow-up peek, it's like, well, is this a weakened site?
Yeah.
Is that why Breach has gone in for this? Because he feels pressured to hold it alone? Just rush him.
And stall? Yeah, exactly. I think it does kind of tell that he's looking to stall because they're trying to get aggressive somewhere else in the map, whether that be B lobby or middle, which is exactly what DIGNITAS were doing. They had a very mid-focused defense there.
The bluff was called, and now Envy take the lead. They were 3-0 down, if I'm correct, though, on that one as well, Dust, right? They got the pistol in the subsequent rounds.
Yep. Fast mid control here from Envy as well, by the way, looking to get that early pressure on Mail, as well as ropes. And again, this is what you'd love to have attacking side. It gives you so many options. Whoop, the boost spots Reyna there on the balcony.
Actually with the headshot, but Maka holding the ropes, backs away to the A tower. Middle control established again, not for the first time on Envy. DIGNITAS haven't seemed too interested in trying to hold this really any of the rounds.
Yeah. Kind of different seeing Food be kind of this lurk with Omen, but what he's setting up for is a paranoia into B Heaven from Ramen. So if they decide to double back after A Heaven, he can paranoia in and allow them to really comfortably take B Heaven control. But it could also be that they just commit to the A Heaven side. They're getting a lot of space here.
Fault lines coming in from the shadows, popped in as well.
30 seconds
now Food
left.
will perch up at the back of the site. DIGNITAS will know this is a distinct possibility. There's not much time left, but Caboose is now putting bullets to faces, and Psalm also chips in with 1. They have no idea that Maka could be up close. You could see Food had his knife out of all weapons. And now he starts to go for that plant.
10 seconds
with
left.
10 seconds to spare.
Spike planted.
He will get it done. How's your aim? Be very little room for error for Caboose. He gets the first, it's his 3rd kill in the round, but Superman will not miss. Pulls the trigger, gets a 4th round for DIGNITAS. They're first in 4.
Yeah, gonna be tough in a 1v2 when you have to pop that Leer to just give yourself vision. It's a good attempt there from Envy. I mean, it's a great use of Food's ult to clear out A side. They had good A Heaven control. They're definitely doing all the right things, but a great recovery there from DIGNITAS. Great fragging. Great play from Psalm once again with this Reyna, his new role. It's been playing really well overall throughout this series, even against the heavy loss in the last map. It's been nice to see, as we are going to see Envy looking to just go full send on A right away. Everyone is here. They have no presence anywhere else on the map. They are not messing around. They want to get in there with the breach flashes and just charge in with Raze and Jet.
Utility is plentiful. Good fault line, but again, not fully capitalizing on this, although Def has gone in for 2. Pardon me. Mummy does come back with one of his own. Def did a great job. The first time we've really seen him play too aggressively outside of there, but Crashy's making the most. Odrus just runs into his demise.
Yeah.
It feels like maybe they got a bit too carried away with their success.
We'll see. They still have a lot to use, right? They still have 1 flashpoint left on Maka. They still have his ult if they need it. They have their Omen has already flanked through B and is inside. That's Superman by Ramen. There is going to be the juxtaposing alts there from Breach.
Rolling Thunder cancels the Rolling Thunder. Things you love to see. And now, the Aftershock takes down Food. That's something you see too often.
I thought he would be able to get away from that, considering the positioning, but does not. Mummy will get eradicated there. Great defense now being put up by Dignitas. They're starting to make their adjustments on covering some of these fast-paced hits from Envy. Starting to get their footing now defensively. They've won 2 in a row. Economy is starting to dwindle just a little bit for Envy. They can still full buy here, though. No problem there.
Credit to Dignitas, though. We discussed how they could shake themselves off after that very rough map of Ascents.
Yeah.
Not like they were about to go back into familiar territory, but they've won the last 2.
Yeah.
Whether they can connect the dots for a 3rd time is yet to be seen. If they do, it would put Envy's economy in awkward shape.
Yeah. You know what is interesting is seeing Odorous, by the way, has been playing Raze. You know, instead of having the operator prioritized for him, as he would often do, it's just been the solo operator with Killjoy defensively. I don't know that Envy would have expected that. I think they would have, expected to see Odorous with it.
Dark covers aplenty. Mummy is using one of them as his residence for the time being. Another one tossed down into the B tower.
Yeah, there's
pulling the plug.
Big B Heaven defense set up, though, from Dignitas, and they already have their Omen pushed into B lobby to watch for the split potential. So they have a good defense set up for this. It's going to be tough for Envy to crack open if they're going to commit to B side. And they really have no way of knowing that they're up against this.
Now, you feel like this is where maybe Breach is going to be worth his weight in gold if he can get a good flash off or maybe a fault line.
I dropped the spike.
Could be one of their key ways of just cracking into B tower and maybe making the most of it. But Sam is up close. They also have depth with the operator just behind him. It's a bait and switch and it works to perfection. It's a hit and run, and Sam lives to tell the tale. He's out of there. 20 seconds to play with. Showstopper's been picked up. A kill will be forthcoming to Odorous. Dignitas, a flawless hold, losing minimal damage in the process. And Envy's economy's been shattered.
Yeah, that was fantastic from Dignitas to go for that stack over towards B. They had Omen Prus, like I said, Superman there in that corner of B lobby, having complete read on if anyone was coming that direction. They had Def, being dynamic with how he's moving that operator around defensively, keeping Envy guessing when they need to worry about that weapon. This has been a great response from Dig to win 3 in a row and keep Envy up against the ropes in a way. I mean, they never really allowed them to build up too much of a lead. And Dignitas have taken that position right back away from them. Aggressive mid-smoke here from Dignitas. They're not really playing off the back, but they're just hoping it kind of keeps Envy honest on how fast they work up middle. As we do see that Dignitas are likely going to have to defend against an Envy B burst play. Again, they like to do the raised blast packing with the breach flashes to just kind of pounce in here, and we'll see how it works.
Fire in the hole!
That's been picked up. Doesn't get any kills, though. Odorous goes in with the first. It's a great flashpoint, and Mummy makes the most of that. Headshot onto Sam. They came into this round with 2 sheriffs. Economy was in real trouble, but they're making what little they had work. Depth again is having a lot of impact with this operator, but he finally falls prey to Mummy. And that will be all down to Maka, but not for much longer. There we go. Envy finally get themselves back into winning ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you always expect from Envy when you see that breach raise combination into B lobby that early. You know that the blast pack combo is coming. And even if it doesn't get a kill, what it does is create space. Then they're able to use their cyber cages and such to kind of block off that initial crossing point and just start closing in on the site and, get those close quarters battles, and they were able to win those, and that gets them their 5th round with 1 round left to go in the half. So overall, considering that they lost Pistol and the Force Buy, to get 5 rounds on attack on a map they normally struggle to get attacking rounds on, this is great for Envy. Especially because their defense is so strong on this map.
Well, you feel this is going to get no easier for Dignitas come the second half, that's for sure. But Sam is taking the initiative. Wow. He plays aggressive, getting behind the attackers, and this could be a bloodbath. There's 1, and a second, and a third. Sam sprays them down. They get aggressive elsewhere with Superman and Odorous, but Sam take a bow. That was absolutely immaculate play.
Yeah, surprised he was able to move that quickly with stones that big. But he indeed was able to slide right into Ramen and have himself a feast. Fantastic aggressive play to catch Envy off guard there to maintain a solid lead going into the second half. Saw a lot of good things at DIGNITAS that half, but also did see Envy, again, have quite the recovery, considering how the half started. For them to come out and get that streak of attacking rounds going. Again, you got to see them put their best foot forward. You got to see them play their style of Valorant, and it worked out for quite some time. They still have a great chance to close the gap, especially if they can win this pistol. And especially considering how strong their defense is. They have an 88% round win rate on split.
Oof, that's nothing to sniff at, is it? Very impressive. But Dig has been solid over the duration of this best of 3. And if they were to win this pistol, Dust, and, you know, convert as they've done today, they're looking at a potential 10-5 lead, and that would really mount the pressure on Envy. That's where we'd see what they're truly made of.
Cover going out.
And we can see that DIGNITAS are looking to put the pressure on A ramps here early. Pretty much all of their personnel is in this direction. They haven't already crossed over towards A heaven with a couple of their players. A couple still left behind with the spike.
Shadows traveling.
Smoke's going up though from Food to try to stall them from wanting to commit into the side itself. It also stops him from realizing how many people are crossing back and forth towards ramp. So they don't have quite the idea on the numbers being committed here to A heaven. Here comes the execute now.
Clears, flashpoints, everything you can ask for, and it's an even trade to kick things off. Now Envy, though, picking up the slack, running away with the round. It all falls onto Death.
30 seconds
down
left.
just to make sure he doesn't get flanked, but that's instantly been destroyed. And although he tries to right-click himself into victory, it's Finesse on the drive-by that gets the second pistol going the way of Envy. And this is maybe where their mammoth defense side starts to take shape.
And also just to make a correction, that 88% I believe is with this 5. If you look at the core of Envy and you know, the 23 maps or so that they've played, you know, with the bulk of their team, I believe it's closer to like 74% win rate on defensive side. Still very high though.
Yes, this should do. Oh, this is a nice spot.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't paint a good picture for Dignitas, does it? We'll see. Maybe they can prove the naysayers wrong. I think, to a degree, to be in a third map would certainly be living up to that mark, so maybe they can go in again. In terms of this round, though, it's pretty grim. You got Classics. I think they got a Sheriff in play, maybe, but it's really, really low-tier investment. Just hoping, really, that Envy make a couple of missteps. Maybe move out into the open and gift wrap the weapon away, but I severely doubt that's going to come to fruition.
That does seem pretty unlikely, doesn't it? We are seeing Def and company looking to start taking some peeks over towards B side of the map. They do have some sheriffs obviously in place. Superman coming off of mid and just... He's left Breach inside Mail, but Jet could come clear it. And indeed, Mummy will push through and find the breach, so that cuts off that access point, and then the rest just get absolutely mopped up. Only Superman left. Trying to get the hell out of there.
3K for Mummy, flawless round on Envy. As expected, though, very low investment. It's picked up. Dignitas can fare better here, but you can see that Def is going to be down into a Phantom. Not the full armor behind it. Maybe lacking a little bit of utility as well, but 7-7. All even, all to play for. One team will be eliminated and one will move through to the playoffs.
Big round here. Bonus buy, obviously, for Envy, holding on to the Spectres. First full send for Dignitas as far as having rifles in everyone's hands on the attacking side. Aggressive here. NB lobby is going to be Envy, but Mummy gets caught. But will they know about Caboose, who also resides in this position, playing at the corner? He's going to get some assistance from Finesse, because he can't really get away without crossing into the crosshairs of Def. Finesse will... And I wonder if that means that they won't expect another to be here. But no, never mind. Def too wise to fall for that. I like the idea from Finesse there to try to make them think that he was the last one there, but didn't work out. Def has played that so well.
There is a vast discrepancy in weapons, though. Effectively, this is a bonus round on Envy. You had a bunch of Spectres coming into this. So not necessarily expecting to stomp this round, I think it's safe to say. Flashpoints are good and allowed Finesse to take the initiative. He's dropped down 2 players, but also the spike. And also has his Sheriff, so has that one-tap ability. 30 HP separating him and his demise, but now he's been pushed off his mortal coil by Death, who's got 3. He gets traded back out again. And now it all
30
falls
seconds
upon Crashies, who has funneled away the attackers. The spike is now transitioning and traversing back over onto the A side of the map, and he probably gets caught out by Odorous. It's a freebie, and Dignitas regained the lead.
Yeah, Crashes was stuck there. I mean, he knew that there was the threat of the spike transitioning to A side, and he had to just kind of throw on the sneakers of choice that wants to sponsor this stream and get the heck over to the other side of the map, but just gets caught on the rotation. But here comes the first full buy from both sides. Go ahead.
Before this, they only had Spectres, and you know, I was expecting when they got the first entries that it was just going to be a cakewalk. You know, they're going to walk through, maybe lose 1 player. The fact that they lost 3 actually forces Psalm down to a Spectre and 2 players at 100 credits. That was a massive round for Envy, if, of course, they can convert this.
Oh, certainly. It's always what you're hoping to gain out of a bonus situation when you don't go for the upgrade. Obviously, Spectres being so good, you never want to throw them away. But it does limit your capabilities in that initial buy round, but no longer. Heavy will be on the operator. Double B, Heaven defense is in place with Caboose. They have Omen joining from ropes as well now to really reinforce this mid defense for Envy. Finesse has a great camera location that can pretty much see everything. I mean, he's loving it.
Now he's up close. The second he sees someone, he can come off the camera and then stand his ground. Killjoy, though, dropping the lockdown. 6 seconds left to scurry away and vacate the premises. They decide to push in instead. And now the detainment begins. Doesn't catch anybody. And Mummy, through the smoke, taking down one, hopping into the air and trying to use his Blade Storm. Connects onto absolutely nobody. Dignitas with a successful post plant comes in, and Food gets caught by the fault line. Can still keep pushing forward though. Doesn't anticipate the close angle. He does. Spins around for a second. Could be a more. Gets more. Through the wall, he takes down Maka. Food with an astounding retake.
What a roller coaster ride of a round. I mean, initially it was looking great for Envy, even though the lockdown forced them to play retake. They had a great combo of, you know, Mummy just going in with Jet, using Finesse's camera to still get an idea of how that push was forming up so he could actually get a shot. Did get one off, popped the Blade Storm, had opportunity for more kills, but just kind of got caught by a push. But then look at Food, just absolutely rinsing them on this retake. They never capitalized on that fault line hitting him. He's able to just kind of creep in, catch his Psalm, having to focus on the rafters. And this shot right here, I don't even know how he knew that he was there. Maybe he got a call out from his teammate and just spammed the pillar, but that was wild.
Yeah, I think it's when you're against 4, you assume that each of these angles, you're not likely to bunch up 2 or 3 at the back of the site. So you have to anticipate they may be using that pillar as cover. So it's just really smart in-game IQ. But Dev threw the dark cover into the head of Finesse. My God.
Why has he done it to him like that?
Dirty.
That's nasty. Filthy.
I suppose the one thing you could say, though, is because it's through the dark cover, he can't get his hands on that fallen weapon.
Sure.
So, you know, there is a bit of a reprieve.
I mean, I guess.
Shadows traveling.
I'm sure Finesse's head's still reverberating from that blow, though.
Yeah. That doesn't really help my head, though, does it?
No, it really doesn't. Just still a splitting
dome.
headache. Needs prescription meds. As we are going to see Dignitas put the remaining forces here to just burst onto A. Spotted one on the corner.
Great flash. Finishes up with 2. He goes down, but now it's up to Crashies, and he will hold the line. 3 kills for Crashies, and Envy take the lead again.
Yeah, it's kind of cruise control so far here for Envy on the defense, as expected. Very strong on this map, on this side. I guess a lot of teams prefer defensive side on Split. I think most people consider the game overall geared defensively, although I would say maps like Haven and Ascent definitely have a lot of opportunities for attacking side, just based on how long the rotations can be at times. But either way, Dig are going to be able to at least put their best effort here. They have 4 rifles. They can go to whatever play they feel is best. Try to set something up. They're going to get some mid control at the very least. Finesse gets a new cam position here inside B Heaven. One you may not really check for if you're Dignitas initially.
Beeps of flashpoints in the distance. Not really yielding any early damage, but information and real estate being gathered on Dignitas. They've already made moves up middle.
Mm-hmm. And with that,
in mail.
they kind of know what they're up against on Envy's side. I mean, they already had 2 in the B site. They have an aggressive angle on B lobby. Cypher's watching the B Heaven push in the spawn.
Big kill from Caboose. Showstopper through the dark cover. Does not connect, but his teammates are. They're picking up the slack. Zom joined alongside Superman, who is tagged. And now the Rolling Thunder is going to hit both. They both get hit by Emperor's Use counteractively. Insta headshot onto Crashies. The pressure now gathered for food. We've already seen him land some crazy retakes, but this will be going a step beyond. And that teleport, Chief, about that one. Yeah. He just got banged.
Do I even need to add to that, or do you think you handled that analysis by yourself? What do you think?
I don't know, man.
I think you got that one. I don't think I need to step in. Let's just say that teleport left you desiring something different. I thought that Rolling Thunder was really going to initiate a nice retake for Envy, but again, Psalm has been spot on with this Reyna.
This is a nice spot. This goes here. That goes
In this
there.
game, he's getting some big assistance from Death and Superman. They are both playing really, really well. Speaking,
There it is.
The Caster's Curse, of course.
The good old curse, the classic.
Love to see it. Hate to see it at the same time.
You're all right, though. I mean, Psalm's been having a great best of 3 series, but
Oh, yeah.
It's been a little bit quiet in the first 2 maps. It's good to see him really emerging in this one, but they're going to need him more than ever here. Player down, finish line within touching reach of both teams.
Oh, yeah.
They need a hero play.
It is indeed neck and neck on the final stretch here. So you're going to see them again, just, you know, Dignitas able to get mid control, able to control both Vince and Male. So again, options open. Can cause a lot of misdirection, can make a lot of quick transitions from site to site, but Mummy has a good angle here, watching ropes, great shot on the Odorous, able to get away as well. They're going to keep following up, though.
One player remaining.
So sick. That's so sick from Mummy. Such a beautiful play from Mummy. Gets the first pick, drops knowing that the Rolling Thunder is coming, smokes himself off, forces some of the attention down towards him, and allows his teammate on the site to do the rest of the work. A 3K on top of it. So well played.
Yeah, Mummy's been a consistent star player for this Envy team, and I think that they've only increased their overall firepower with Crashies coming in for Aegis. And I think Calypso was obviously a pretty big fragger for them next to Mummy, but I feel like the others have been able to step up, like Food, like Caboose. They can definitely put in numbers when they need to. And there's a good illustration of what Mummy is capable of. We are going to see Dignitas having to kind of save from the map point and series point play in the next round. Obviously, the Sheriffs still give them some chance to pose a threat. They will again be looking for mid-control. Smoke up on Male to allow them to get forward, but there is a trap wire on the Heaven doorway and 3 defenders from Envy in position.
The pin pulled on the paint shell, but Caboose decides against it, puts it back in again. Because he doesn't hear footsteps. And although he saw multiple players pushing in towards the B tower, he can't be sure they fully invested behind this. They're fully committed to this push. Now he realizes it. First kill goes his way, and a second, there's the 3K spray down, and a 4th. Every bullet used perfectly. Impeccable aim, a 4K. And although it's against Sheriffs, you cannot fault that aim.
Yeah, exactly. That's still a good illustration, especially for that last kill. Just that little micro adjustment of the crosshair to get that 4th frag is a testament to his mechanical ability. I mean, some of these guys had really high skill ceilings in Counter-Strike, but they just never were really able to, like, strategically fit into the game as well as maybe they wanted to. But we always knew the aim was there. And so coming over to this game, as they learn the agents and abilities and synergy and compositions, the aim just carries over immediately without having to work at it. And that was a great little run there from Caboose. Gets him flying up the scoreboard. And now this is basically Dignitas' last-ditch effort.
Bomb buddy out.
That was big. He was way up there, Vince. He was way up there.
I can applaud the effort, definitely the style points, but obviously it didn't connect at all. It did, however, force DIGNITAS back.
Yeah,
they were toying with the idea of going to A, and that instantly.
Look what else it
nope,
did.
They
got Mummy in B lobby like this as well. I would say it's kind of like a slight side effect of how that played out early. But you could tell that Death's a little concerned that there might be someone there. He's definitely playing a little bit more cautiously. He got the trap wire down. His alarm bot, though, was taken out. So it's still kind of a stalemate on B lobby, but Mummy still holds a power position and can dash out, obviously, right away after taking a shot. Oh, you do hate to see that if you're Mummy.
Well, he holds the angle. They
Yeah.
assume that he's moved out of position, and that baits them in. And Mummy, with one, can just fall back.
Lockdown's about to be initiated here from Def. He's looking to use that to control this B side, or at least push them back. They ran this a few rounds ago.
30 seconds left.
Oh! Oh!
That was so nearly a crazy play.
I know. I can't believe it's missed.
Oh my god. That being said, the lockdown is still in effect. And now the lockdown has subsided. The curfew is lifted. And Envy will start to try and push in. It will be through smokes. It will be through plenty of utility. And Odorous with a Vandal on point to the cranium of Caboose. But one straight back. Phantom used from Finesse. Crashy's also chipping in. It's looking good. Psalm, he's had such a good series. Can he clutch this one out? No. Very close. Look at the HP bars of Crashies and Food. But they still get the job done. More than enough time for the defuse. And 3 match points. 3 playoff points. 3 elimination points come up.
And just to remind you what's on the line
Match
here,
point.
if you lose this series, you are out, and you don't even get a direct seed for placing top 8 in the UMG tournament. You have to start from scratch. That's a big L to take. Meanwhile, winner gets top 8. At bare minimum, you have a slot in the UMG tournament, and you're 1 best of 3 away from making first strike. So there is so much weight on Dignitas and Envy going into these last couple of rounds.
to blow something up.
And we'll see if Dignitas has it in them, but so far all their success has been on islands in a sea of Envy dominance.
Bomb buddy out.
That fault line is so brutal to contend with, and there's a dark cover right behind it. Crashies is using his own. Up close, gets 2. And a flashpoint behind it finally gets charged down. Sam gets the retreat. I don't think that will be good enough. Envy still have a player up.
Indeed they do, and now Mummy's in position with the operator to add on to it. Food pitching in as well, now all on Superman.
That's going to do it. That's going to seal the deal. Envy take the best of 3 and secure their spot in the playoff. It was labored. It was by no means guaranteed, but they got there eventually, Dust. Well played, though, has to go out to Dignitas because they made a real go and a real effort of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to give them props for taking the map that they did. They did have their opportunities there as well. Just the Envy defense on split is a tough egg to crack, especially to do so consistently when you're struggling to get started, get your economy established and all that good stuff. It's definitely a tough one. And again, it's also, we know that they've been through a lot with this roster transition, with these role swaps. There's still, a lot that they need to probably sort out, going forward. And this was tough to just come into a big tournament like this with little time to figure it all out. But we'll bring Yinzu back in to kind of close out the stream. Our wonderful host who has been marathoning it. I want to give her props. She has been from London out here working all day. 4 best of 3s. You're at the finish line.
Vince, I'm sure you can empathize, but thank you so much, Dust. I feel actually really sad to have to say goodbye to Dignitas. They've not had the desired results, but they put out a great showing. I know, Dust, you mentioned now that they do have to work on some things going forward, but what did you make of their performance in general today?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was impressed. I think Vince and I talked about this time and time again in the broadcast that, Psalm's made a big swap, over from like a more supportive, style of play, playing Sova primarily, to now, playing Reyna, which is a big person to create openings and be more assertive. So I thought he actually made that transition well. It looked sharp throughout many different points in this series. And I mean, again, I think that it just boils down to this team having to gel together more, build chemistry, and just sort out the kinks, but I think that there's definitely a good foundation there.
Now we've completed our top 8 finally. Envy will be joining Cloud9 Blue, 100 Thieves, Complexity, T1, Sentinels, TSM, and Renegades into the playoff stage. We don't know the bracket just yet, but Vince, now we know who's going to be competing. Which top 4 do you see progressing realistically?
I mean, I think it's hard to go against Sentinels, right? When we were discussing their previous game against Envy, best team in NA, some would even argue the world. So I think when you look at Sentinels, you've got to give like a tip to those. I honestly think with the rest of the teams, it's super, super close. I would expect to see the likes of TSM up there as well, of course. But that's the really great thing about this tournament is it's so stacked with so many crazy players and crazy teams. It's very difficult for me to decide who is actually going to make this.
There's definitely potential for upset. So, Dust, what do you think about the top 4 that could be progressing to that main event in December?
Well, looking at the bracket, I mean, Cloud9 has Renegades, so I think that obviously Cloud9's going to be heavily favored there, so I imagine they're going to get the top 4 finish. Complexity has Envy, and Complexity's been pulling off some impressive results out of their Group B. Like, I didn't think they would get first seed. And so that impresses me a bit, but Envy's going to be a tough ask of them. I think the spicy one, the creme de creme, is a TSM versus 100 Thieves. That's going to be a banger quarterfinals match. That's a hard one to read. You would favor TSM due to their history together. They've been together for a very long time. They've been very successful. But 100 Thieves has shown some couple of bright moments throughout this tournament. So that'll be fun. And then Sentinels will obviously be the favorite against T1. So I think that a lot of the big names will probably find top 4 tomorrow, but we'll have to find out.
Well, knowing that TSM versus 100 Thieves matchup as well, I'm sure we're going to get plenty of trash talk from both of these teams. They love giving it on social media, and that's definitely one of my favorite parts about this tournament. Now, before I wrap up, I wanted to get some last thoughts from you guys. What did you learn from today's tournament action? I'll come to you first, Vince.
I learned that there are a lot of players that had gone underneath my radar, the likes of Sam. It was great to see Depth as well, having... he had a bit of a slow start in the best of 3, but on Split, I think he was really, really solid. Again, we mentioned before that Killjoy is an agent that he's trying to learn, and he's like kind of improving game by game. I think we saw that today. I'm just really impressed with the overall skill level in NA, I've got to say. And like Sentinels again, you saw some of those heavy hitters really stepping up when it counted. Sick in particular was just crazy in that first bind performance.
Yeah, he was pretty sick. I had to. Das, what about you? What's your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that, like, there hasn't really been that many shocking results. I mean, I think that most of what we expected has kind of occurred throughout the day. Like, Cloud9 topping their group was kind of what we thought. 100 Thieves, though, still continuing to be impressive, and they definitely did take it to Cloud9. They took a map off of them. They played them close on a couple others. So, I mean, I think that they continue to be building. Again, I was a little bit shocked to see Complexity take seed 1 out of Group B, but, I mean, otherwise, I think that we've kind of gotten everything that we could have asked for out of the groups. I think that we got the best teams through. I think we're going to have an absolute banger playoffs. And there's still going to be some second chances for some of these other teams in the UMG tournament still maybe getting first strike. So, and it's been great games, and great support from the community. There's been a lot of viewership, a lot of people on social media talking about it and engaging on the subreddit and stuff. And we appreciate that. We're building a community here, and y'all are all a part of it. And definitely appreciate the support over here at Nerd Street Gamers.
Well, like you said, it's not going to be the last time we see these teams. Envy, Dignitas, even we'll have another chance at the UMG qualifiers next week. Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Das and Vince, for joining me. And congratulations to all 8 teams who have made it to playoffs. Thank you so much to you guys at home for watching. There'll be plenty of First Strike action right back here tomorrow from 12 p.m. Pacific time. We'll see you then.